Let's be honest. The idea that a giant metal tube weighing over 100,000 pounds can fly smoothly across the sky still feels a little crazy. We trust planes, we ride in them. But deep down, you might still wonder, how does something that heavy just fly? And here's the funny thing. Even with all our technology, smart scientists, and decades of experience, there's still debate about how exactly planes stay in the air. Weird, right? Well, don't worry. We're breaking it all down today in the simplest and most fun way possible. What even keeps a plane up? The short answer, lift. But what exactly is lift? And where does it come from? Lift is the force that holds an airplane in the air. Without it, a plane would just fall straight down like a rock. Lift works against the weight of the airplane, which pulls it down due to gravity. So, imagine the plane going forward, and the wings are shaped in a way that makes air move faster over the top and slower underneath. That difference in air pressure creates lift. But that's just the start of the story, the Bernoulli Principle. One of the oldest explanations comes from a guy named Daniel Bernoulli, who lived in the 1700s. According to him, fast-moving air has lower pressure than slow-moving air. So, airplane wings are shaped with a curve on top and flat on the bottom. As the plane speeds forward, air flows faster over the curved top and slower underneath. That means lower pressure on top and higher pressure underneath, which pushes the wing upward. And that's lift, at least, according to Bernoulli. Simple, right? Well, not so fast. The angle of attack. There's another important idea, angle of attack. That just means the angle at which the wing meets the air as the plane moves forward. If the front of the wing is tilted slightly upward, it deflects air downward. And according to Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The air pushes back up on the wing. Boom, that's lift 2. So, which one is it, Bernoulli or Newton? Well, probably both. Modern physics says both ideas work together. The wing shape affects airflow, and the tilt of the wing also pushes air downward. They both help generate lift. It's not either or. So, why is there still confusion? Now, here's the juicy part. Despite having all this knowledge, there's still no single agreed-upon explanation of how lift really works. Sounds ridiculous, right? Even Scientific American made a video titled, "No One Can Explain Why Planes Stay in the Air." But that doesn't mean planes are a mystery, or that pilots don't know what they're doing. It just means the deeper you go into the science, the more complex it gets. Air is a fluid, and when it moves around objects like wings, it creates some tricky behaviors, vortices, turbulence, boundary layers, and all those play a role. So, yes, we understand how to make lift, how to control it, and how to fly safely. But the pure physics, still debated. Kinda cool, right? The 4 forces of flight. Let's take a step back and look at the 4 key forces that make flight possible. Lift, weight, thrust, and drag. Lift pulls the airplane upward. It's created by the wings as air moves over them. Weight is the force of gravity pulling the plane down. For a plane to rise off the ground, lift has to beat weight. Next is thrust, which is the forward motion created by the engines. It's what pushes the plane through the air. But moving forward creates drag, which is the air pushing back against the plane's motion. So, for a plane to fly, thrust must be stronger than drag, and lift must be stronger than weight. Once in the air, all these forces balance out. Pilots and onboard systems constantly adjust for wind, speed, and altitude to keep everything smooth and steady. It's like a delicate tug of war that keeps the plane flying just right. What makes the wings so special? You've probably noticed that wings have a very specific shape, long, narrow, and slightly curved. That shape is called an airfoil. It's designed to do 2 things: make air move faster over the top than under the bottom, create lift with the least amount of drag. Even small changes in the shape of a wing can completely change how a plane flies. Engineers spend years perfecting wing designs to improve speed, fuel efficiency, and stability. Some wings even change shape mid-flight. These are called variable geometry wings. And on some planes, you'll notice tiny flaps and slats moving during takeoff and landing. These help control lift at low speeds. Engines. Now, here's another surprising fact. Engines don't directly lift the plane. Engines give thrust, pushing the plane forward. It's the movement of air over the wings that actually creates lift. No motion, no lift. That's why gliders can fly without engines. They get pulled into the sky, and once they're moving fast enough, the wings do the rest. The air keeps flowing over the wings, and the glider stays up. In a powered airplane, the engines just keep the air moving over the wings. So, what happens when the plane slows down? If the plane slows down too much, there's not enough air moving over the wings. That means less lift. And when lift drops below weight, the plane starts to fall. This is what we call a stall. Now, a stall isn't the same as the engine stopping. It just means the wings aren't making enough lift. Pilots are trained to recognize and recover from stalls fast by adjusting the angle of the wings or increasing speed. How do planes stay balanced? Ever wondered why planes don't tip forward or roll side to side? That's thanks to control surfaces, parts of the wings and tail that move to control the plane's direction. These include ailerons on the wings, control roll, elevators on the tail, control pitch up and down, rudder, also on the tail, controls yaw, side to side. By adjusting these surfaces, pilots can turn, climb, descend, and keep the plane flying level. So, what's up with jet streams? Let's throw one more interesting fact in the mix. When planes fly at high altitudes, they sometimes catch a ride on jet streams, fast-moving air currents way up in the sky. If the plane flies with a jet stream, it goes faster and uses less fuel. Flying against one, it's like running on a treadmill, slower and harder. Airlines plan routes carefully to take advantage of these invisible highways in the sky. Planes don't fly because of just one thing. They fly because everything works together in perfect harmony. First, the engines provide the thrust, pushing the plane forward through the air. Then the wings come into play, using that forward motion to generate lift. That lift pushes the plane upward, helping it fight against gravity pulling it down. Meanwhile, control surfaces like the rudder, elevators, and ailerons help keep the plane balanced, level, and able to turn or climb smoothly. Each part plays a role, and none of them work in isolation. If one thing's off, too little thrust, too much drag, poor wing shape, the whole system falls apart. But when everything is tuned just right, the result is something amazing: smooth, stable flight. Even though scientists still debate the finer points of how lift works, one thing is crystal clear: planes fly because physics, engineering, and design all work as a team. Wait, then, how do helicopters fly? Ah, yes, good question. Helicopters don't have wings, but they do have rotor blades, which act like spinning wings. As the blades spin, they move air over themselves, generating lift just like airplane wings do. The pilot controls lift by changing the angle of the blades. That's called collective pitch. And to move forward, backward, or sideways, the angle of the blades is adjusted in a rotating pattern called cyclic pitch. So yeah, same basic physics, just spinning instead of gliding. So, can anything fly with the right shape? Surprisingly, yes. Even paper airplanes can glide thanks to their wing shape. Some animals, like flying squirrels and gliding snakes, use modified body parts to create enough lift to move through the air. And engineers are constantly experimenting with new flying machines, drones, flying cars, even robotic birds, all using the same basic forces of lift, thrust, drag, and weight. If you can shape something to make air move the right way, you can make it fly. The bottom line is planes fly because science works. Planes fly because the forces of nature allow them to. Even though we may still be debating the finer points of how lift works, the basic ideas haven't changed. Move forward fast enough. Use the shape of the wing to move air. Create more pressure below than above. Keep the plane balanced with smart controls. And just like that, we're flying at 35,000 feet, sipping orange juice and watching movies in the sky. Kind of amazing, isn't it? At the end of the day, planes aren't floating on air. They're slicing through it, fighting gravity, controlling motion, using every trick in the physics book to stay in the sky. And while people still argue about the best explanation for lift, one thing is for sure: flight is one of the coolest things we've ever figured out how to do. Next time you're on a plane, just take a moment to appreciate the fact that you're flying. Not because of magic or luck, but because of hundreds of years of science, trial and error, and brilliant minds who cracked the code. And that's all about how planes fly and stay in the air. If you liked the breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do you believe this explanation makes sense? Or do you have your own thoughts on how planes stay up? Let us know.